Alrighty, hey Jaslyn. I'm here with your aims, and I'm going to give you feedback. Um, just like I would if we were in an alternate universe where I was a professor at a big research university and you were my PhD student. More or less the type of feedback, I would have gotten from my advisor Alice when I was at BU. Okay, so I think that you're a good writer. Overall, you wrote very well. Um, and you have some good ideas here. Yeah, I mean, this is one of the. It doesn't happen with every aims that I read, from students in this class that I've taught several times over the years now, both here at Gordon and at Williams. But this was one of the grants where I was like, wow, there's some cool ideas here that we should actually do this study. Like this is a very good idea. Potentially, I'm convinced by your arguments that there may be something here that we could heal the wounds of people with anorexia. We could change their very brains by doing this body stuff, body action movements. So that's very cool. So well done. Of course, that doesn't mean you don't have work to do. There's still some improving that needs to be done to make this as strong as possible. So I think overall I would say the main takeaway in terms of improving it would be that if you look at your piece of paper here, you can come in and look at my scribbles at any point if you want, but if you look at your piece of paper, you'll notice that about that much is the background and explaining and leading up to, and then that much is the aim. So I would say 60-40 is hypotheses versus background, and I would switch that. I would make it more, I need more explanation, more background, more science convincing me that this is a good idea, and then explaining the idea will be like 40% of it. I think you should probably drop one of your aims. I think you probably only need 2. So that's what I would do. Spend some more time being clear in the background and then drop an aim, and you'll have space to do that. And the other thing is that your study is really based on this Engel study that I believe was presented in class by Nicholas and perhaps Hannah. And you need to be clear about what she already found. I don't know if Engel is a woman, but what Engel already found. And what you would be adding to that. Because didn't Engel show something about affordances and body action movement thing? It was different in people with anorexia? I don't know if I'm remembering that correctly, but that's sort of what I recall. And yeah, you're talking about after treatment, there's these differences. So yeah, you need to be clear about what that group showed and what you would be showing that would be different. So that's a task for you. Now I think that the rest of the stuff is just kind of specific things about the writing and stuff. So let's see. First paragraph, middle. Specifically, patients prior to eating disorder treatment have been shown to perceive their own body size well, this is a difficult one to phrase, actually. But I didn't really like the way you phrased it. So see if you can improve the phrasing of that sentence, is all I'm trying to say. Your last sentence in the paragraph, you say a specific neurobiological mechanism which is responsible for body-scaled action movements may differ in those from anorexia. In fact, it does, I guarantee, because there is no perception of one's body or making body. There is no body action movement without a neural mechanism for that. So you can take that for granted. I would just rephrase it to say the neurobiological correlates of this difference are unknown or remain to be explored. But I would only bother to say that if you're going to measure some kind of neurobiological mechanism here, which I don't believe you propose. So if you're not going to be measuring anything with the brain, then you don't have to mention anything about you can take that sentence out. You don't have to mention the neurobiological mechanisms. It actually confuses the reader to say, oh, wow, this is unknown. Okay, you're going to do that? You're going to fill that hole in the literature? You're kind of expecting that. But then you're not doing it, and you're like, whoa, you're like, feel let down. So don't let the reader down. Just don't even mention that. Keep that out of their consciousness, unless you're going to address it. So this Muravita study, 2004, that you found looks like a real gold mine. There's no model of the body which cannot be updated or something. Oh no, that's the Dave Vigneault. Well, that looks like a gold mine too. Both of those. I think I would like maybe some example. Like you can use some of your space to talk about some examples of those two studies about body schema and then how neural networks are changed. Yeah, so like in that study, Muravita, how did they change those neural networks? That would be good. And then you can convince me, and I'll basically be doing the same thing with my hula hoop task or whatever it is that you're going to be doing. Just like in the Muravita study, then I'll be like, oh wow, she's just applying this other thing that worked to change a neural model. She'll be changing the neural model in her patients. It's going to work. Like, spell it out for me why this is going to work more. I do think your first specific aim I felt unclear. To examine the potential role of body-scaled action movements in anorexia. So that would suggest that body-scaled action movements are part of the disorder, which I don't think they are. So I don't think you really want to say role. I'm not sure what you do want to say. Overall, that whole paragraph, I couldn't really follow you. So discrepancies in body-scaled action movements happen a lot in anorexia. And you say it's a key component of the disorder and its treatment. I definitely don't believe you on that, especially since you don't have a reference there. But if you think that is a surprise to me, and I've done, a practicum treating eating disorders and stuff, and it's certainly not my area of expertise, but I know a little bit about it, and I've never heard anything about body-scaled action movements in the treatment of eating disorders. There was that study by Engel, but that was the first time I had ever heard about that. That's not like part of the treatment. That's a more research type of a thing, if you see the difference there. So, yeah, I think that first paragraph is pretty unclear. You could probably just ditch that first aim and just keep the second two. I mean, it would also be interesting if you wanted to maybe keep... Yeah, I mean, you don't need to do it over time. So specific aim 2, I like the phrasing there. To test whether body-scaled action movement can be improved. Delete the rest of the aim. Just say, to see whether it can be improved. One session, an hour of these body-scaled action movements, see if you can improve it. I thought that's more or less what Engel did, but maybe not. So see if that can be, if you can improve the accuracy or whatever of their own body through these hula hoop exercises or whatever. You should explain the hula hoop exercises better, by the way, like in the background or something. Just like a sentence or something. Give the reader an intuition what the heck you're talking about. But if you wanted to, that could be the first aim, and then the second aim could be looking at the neural mechanism. So for example, like, I wonder, people with anorexia, if you show them there's something going off in their brain, right? When they see themselves as fat, there is a thing that happens. It's very powerful. It's very scary to them. They hate it. It's like this circuit is like switched on. It's like not okay, And I mean, I wonder, like, there might be times they look at themselves and they feel they look good, and that circuit is not going off, So I wonder what would happen if I just thought of this. This might not be a good idea, but right now it seems like a pretty good idea. I wonder what would happen if you showed people with anorexia, like you used a Snapchat filter or something, you showed them a picture of themselves as fat, and you measured EEG or something to see, like, if there's a spike that's occurring, like a big like an N200 or a P170 or something, some spike in EEG activity that corresponds to seeing myself as fat, versus seeing neutral pictures of themselves, like them, like just their eyes wearing a hat, like they can tell it's them or something, or people that are fat versus not. I don't know. But see if you can get some sort of, or there may have been studies that have done this already, that some sort of neural signature of perceiving oneself as fat, and then see if you can change that neural signature. If you can if after you do your correction with the hula hoop stuff, if then they see pictures of themselves and they don't really view themselves as fat anymore, they just know, hey, that's my body. It fits through this size hula hoop, whatever. So aim 2, I guess that was a long-winded way to say, and I don't even know if that made sense, but aim 2 could be something about, aim 1 is change the perception of one's own body through the body hula hoop movements, and aim 2 is see if that changes this supposed neural correlate of it. You know, fMRI you could do, or you could do EEG, probably one of those. Okay, that's plenty of feedback for you. I think you'll be able to get this thing to the next level if you apply that. Let me know if you need to communicate about any of it's unclear, but you get a cool idea here, so keep up the good work.